Just over a mile in length, New Hampshire Motor Speedway's oval is a classic paperclip design with straightaways and tight, flat turns. Not surprisingly, the track rewards cars that have plenty of power out of the corners and brakes capable of getting things slowed down at the end of the straightaways. Not to mention, drivers who can baby those brakes from start to finish. With an oval hosting a full slate of NASCAR competition, including NASCAR Cup Series, Xfinity Series, NASCAR Craftsman Trucks, ARCA, and even the Whelen Modifieds. It also has a road course. It's home to a variety of SCCA and vintage sports car events, legend cars, even motorcycle races. But tonight, it's the DEP Graphics Truck Series NTG Trucking 150, and it's next on HBR TV. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to New Hampshire Motor Speedway, Loudon, New Hampshire, for tonight's NTG Trucking 150. I'm Steve Singer with HBR TV. As this season continues to wind down, let's take a look at the race information for tonight. Air temperature 83 degrees. Rather dry, 33% humidity, partly cloudy skies. Track temperature up to 116 degrees. Practice still underway here at the Speedway. Let's go down trackside to see where everyone is shaking out presently. Zach Millett on top of that leaderboard, 30.56 seconds. Jeff Ottinger just barely off of that time in P2. Doesn't go out 3 spaces, but 2 spaces to 30.56, effectively the same time all the way to the hundredths. Only a handful of drivers still on the track right now. Brian Rose, Double O Joe Bennett, Robert Chipman Jr., Dan Baker. Well, we have an opportunity. Let's take a look at the point standings coming into tonight. Zach Millett, of course, your playoff leading driver. 58 points to Larry Dickerson's 45. Tie for second, Vincent Short. Double O Joe Bennett, Chris Klein, Russ Kilgore, Blaine Woodruff, Paul Durkee, Robert Chipman, Brandon Coleman, the top 10. Effectively eliminated from the playoffs thus far, Alfie Charon, Brian Rose, Andy Sizemore, Tony Polk, Paul Ferdiani, and then some. Those can all change, of course, with a win. Want to make special mention, too, coming up on May 22nd, Numb Thumbs Racing League season opener, honoring the men and women of blue. It's the 2023 Back the Blue. Guys, stay tuned with the Numb Thumbs Racing League for more details on that as the season winds down and next season begins to get underway. That is for their next-gen Cup Series League. They run just about everything. And we got Haley in the stream chat nice and early. Hi, Steve and everyone. It's racing time. Hit that thumbs up to show your support. I swear to God, every time she's in here, I always forget to say it. But she reminds everybody, hit that like button in the stream. If you're not already watching, well, if you're not already watching, you're not hearing me. But if you are already watching, go ahead and hit the like button. It does help the broadcast. It helps the league, everybody involved, really. Practice at its conclusion, we jump into qualifying. Looks like Brian Rowe is actually going to be the first one to roll here. Brian trying to get some heat in those tires before he takes the green flag. Admittedly, Brian Rowe is not really a fan of this place, but he does have some success here. He's got a Superior Class Auto Racing win here last season. Came in here really just complaining about the place, couldn't stand it, ended up bringing home the checkered flag at the end of it all. .76 first lap for Brian Rose. Just edging out Alfie Charon, P2. Again, that's first lap of the attempt. Charon around turn 4. Does he get the wall? It was close if he didn't. 30.895 does not pick up on lap 2. Vincent Short, second lap. Not as fast as the first. 31.074 for lap 1. Robert Chipman Jr., the number 55. Chipman out of Sterling, Connecticut. .909 first lap for Chipman Jr. Puts him third fast on the board. Jeff Ottinger was very quick in practice. I think he was second fast overall in the session, if we remember it correctly. First lap's a 30.950. See if we can knock Brian Rose off the pole here with 30.76. He's got some work to do. Needs a couple of tenths. Across the stripe, Ottinger goes P3, 30.885, almost a tenth quicker. Brandon Coleman, first lap at 31.040. Slides way up the racetrack there in 1 and 2. Probably not going to be the best of laps here. We'll see, down the backstretch. Sits 8th on the board thus far. At the stripe, 8th quick, 30.999. Millett out of turn 4 as well. 30.594 goes P1. Obliterates Brian Rose's time. Just over a tenth and a half quicker. He's still in the throttle down the backstretch here. Let's see if lap 2 is even quicker. Haven't seen many guys go faster on that second lap. Some have, most have not. .723 second lap. Still would have been good enough for pole. Paul Durkee now will take his opportunity to qualify here at New Hampshire. 14th quick, first time by, 31.857. Might be just a waste lap for the 13 truck. We'll see if Paul's got more in store here for lap 2. You can really see that progressive banking there in the middle of the corners. This truck floats up the racetrack, but Durkee does pick it up, 30.971, puts himself into the top 10 in P9. Baker wraps up his lap. Derek Welch on the racetrack, a late add. Derek, the Numb Thumbs Racing League owner, NTG, doesn't typically run out here in the Truck Series, but somewhat light field here tonight. Figured he'd come out and try his hand at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Good to see the old one truck in action. Of course, no practice for Derek Welch. He's way up the racetrack. .380. He's last on his first lap. See if he's got anything there to pick it up on lap 2. Way up the racetrack again. Out of 4, let's see where he lands. Just turns it into the wall across the stripe. No second lap scored officially for Derek Welch. With that, we're going to step aside here. A couple of minutes remain in the session officially. Seems that just about everyone has gotten a lap in, but we'll be back after this. Back at New Hampshire Motor Speedway for tonight's NTG Trucking 150, the DEP Graphics Truck Series. Let's take a look at our starting grid. On the pole position with a lap time of 30.594 seconds, it's the 315 of Zach Millett. Outside front row teammate Brian Rose, the number 89 HBRShops.com entry. Row number 2, Larry Dickerson, the 69 truck. Alfie Charon Jr., the number 78, rolls forward. Jeff Ottinger in the number 76 was quick in practice. Right there with Zach Millett. He's going to roll off from the 5th starting position. Robert Chipman Jr. starting in the 55 in P6. Justin Lawson in the 20. He'll start P7. Chris Klein, the number 51 NTRL driver, will start in the 8th spot. Paul Durkee, the 13. He'll roll from the 9th starting position with Dan Baker, the 09, rounding out the top 10. Starting in the 11th position, it's the 19 of Brandon Coleman. Double O Joe, he's going to start in the 12th spot in the 00. Vincent Short with Holler Boys Racing, the number 15, starts 13th. Blaine Woodruff, the 71, rolls in the 14th spot with Scott Milner, the 31, starting 15th. Shotgun on the field, it's the league owner himself, Derek Welch in the NTR machine. He'll start 16th in that number 1 truck. It's your starting grid for the NTG Trucking 150. Field already beginning to roll through turns 1 and 2 to the backstretch. Should be going green the next time by. Zach Millett, Brian Rose, your front row. No doubt these drivers are going to be trying to work together here, Alfie Charon included. Alfie not an HBR driver per se, an associate, if anything, as the green flag waves. We're underway from New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Lap 1 in the books. Zach Millett leads it. Brian Rose runs P2. Alfie Charon 3rd. Larry Dickerson, Jeff Ottinger in the top 5. ...150 laps the race distance here this afternoon. Driver's going to have to settle down into a rhythm. Take care of the tires. That's going to be the biggest factor here tonight. Aggregate in the racetrack here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, very abrasive. Larry Dickerson running in the 4th spot. Jeff Ottinger runs P5. Top 7 relatively unchanged with the exception of Alfie Charon, Larry Dickerson switching spots. Charon starting P4 up into P3. Everyone else back to P7 is where they qualified. Paul Durkee runs 8th. He started 9th. 9th is Chris Klein. He started 8th. And 10th is Brandon Coleman. He started 11th. Battle for position here on the racetrack at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. We saw Ottinger trying to put the move on here, the 69 truck of Larry Dickerson. Ottinger goes back to the bottom once again. So the thing about New Hampshire Motor Speedway is some pretty varied options as far as the line you can take around this place to be fast, to make passes. As you see Chipman Jr. going to the outside on Ottinger here, at least trying to. It is the long way around, but the further up the racetrack you go, tends to be a little bit more banking here at New Hampshire. The low lane pretty much the flattest, though it is the short way around as Ottinger goes to the bottom again, but maybe midway here through the groove in 3 and 4. Ottinger with a nose out in front of the 69 of Dickerson through turns 1 and 2. Ottinger way down to the bottom, hugging that yellow line through the corner. Still not able to get the pass done. Got blimps all over the place here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Almost some contact in the air. One blimp to another. As we continue to watch this battle with Larry Dickerson and Jeff Ottinger. Ottinger really closes the gap. Corner entry. Dickerson now turning it hard left in the middle of the corner, almost to the bottom. Puts 2 truck lengths on the 76, out of the corner. Meanwhile, out front, Millett, Rose, and Sharon, those positions unchanged for now. Dickerson way up the racetrack. He's so far up the track, you almost think he made a mistake, but you see the run he gets out of the corner, certainly by design. Able to maintain that position with a big run out of the corner, carries that momentum and speed down the straightaway. Ottinger down to the bottom. Again, we talked about the variable banking here, the progressive banking, I guess you could call it. Short way around is the bottom, but that's where you're going to wear the tires out the most. You're going to put the most wheel into that machine as Alfred Sharon actually gets the pass done on Brian Rose using that bottom lane. Sharon, a native of Connecticut, certainly I would consider this a home track for Alfie. Millett with a 2-second lead over second and third already. Last lap for Alfie Sharon, a 31.69, just shy of 1/10 faster than race leader Zach Millett. Again, it's still really early here, only 11 laps in. We'll have to see if Alfie can reel in the 3:15 and put the challenge on. Checking on Derek Welch, started shotgun on the field here tonight. Obviously with some drivers around him, he's got a better idea where his entry turn-in points are. Started to work his way up through the field, runs 13th, challenging Brandon Coleman for P12. This battle between Derek Welch and the 19 of Brandon Coleman. This is for the 12th position. Good little scrap back here in the rear of the field. Derek Welch takes the spot away from Coleman. Move the one machine up into the 12th spot. Back out front, Zach Millett still with the lead. Sounds like he's already shifting gears here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Let's ride on board with Zach Millett and take a listen to see if that is the case. Yes, indeed. Fourth gear down the straightaway. Let's see when he picks up third gear. Right about there, about the apex, right in the middle of 1 and 2. Somewhat symmetrical racetrack here at New Hampshire. It's probably going to be the same spot in the middle of 3 and 4. Right about here. There it is. Zach Millett just checking out. 3.5 seconds back to Alfie Charon. 4.12 seconds back to Brian Rose in P3. Further back to Larry Dickerson and Jeff Ottinger, 4th and 5th. Bunch of battles going on back here for the 6th, 7th, 8th positions. Justin Lawson ahead of this group, 20 truck. Teammate Paul Durkee just behind. Lawson running a Yinling sponsorship on that Toyota Tundra tonight. Yinling, one of my go-to beers back in the day. Back when you had to know somebody in Pennsylvania to get it, out in Pottsville. Now you can get it anywhere, but it's always a commodity back in the day. Chris Klein putting the pressure on. We'll ride on board with Vincent Short here as he watches this battle from the rear of this group. Vincent grabbing 3rd gear as well. Vince drives it pretty deep into turn 3, still using that 3rd gear to get the car to rotate. Truck, that is. Hard on the throttle on exit. That drone camera, awfully brave, driving that close to those trucks in the front stretch. I do hear a pretty considerable variant between the drivers that are downshifting, those that are not. I gotta kind of wonder here, and I had this thought early on in the practice session with drivers downshifting regardless of the lane that they were taking. Doing that, you're able to get the truck to rotate, which is a good thing. The problem that you run into with that, though, is you're going to burn the right rear off the truck for 2 reasons. A, you're getting it to rotate, which means you're hanging that right rear out in the wind. You're kind of leaning on that. It's set into the racetrack, but also being in 3rd gear, you put the throttle down, you've got that drive out of the corner. The drive off, it's going to put undue stress on that right rear as well because it's already loaded up. As it is right now, we're 23 laps into this 150-lap event. Got to kind of wonder how much tire wear they're really going to see here. Granted, they do have 4 sets of tires available to them over the wall. More than enough for New Hampshire Motor Speedway, especially if we continue to run under the green flag like this. Your pit stops are going to be more dictated by your fuel levels than anything else. Meanwhile, up front, though, Brian Rose is taking the 2nd position away from Alfie Charon. Remember, Alfie was able to pass Brian a handful of laps ago. Let's go back and take a look at it here. A few laps ago, lap 20 it was specifically. Let's go back a little bit further here. We didn't get a good eyeball on it. Rose had a good run out of turn 2. Alfie actually goes up the racetrack, opens the door for Rose. Really just lets him have it. Knows that he had the run. Not going to waste time contesting it. All you're going to do is bring those guys in 4th and 5th closer. You don't need that. Alfie's still right there, though. Alfie, one of those drivers not downshifting mid-corner. He is. It certainly was not in turns 3 and 4. tell you, though, the temptation is real there. You hear how low those RPMs get. The temptation to grab third gear has got to be really strong there. Let's run on more with Brian Rose and listen to his RPM, see if he's shifting gears. Sounds like no. Alfie Sharon gets a piece of the wall on turn 2. It's going to increase the distance between himself and Brian Rose and open up the door for Larry Dickerson. It's going to close in a little bit. Still 5 truck lengths off the back bumper of the 78 machine. 28 laps go up on the board. We're going to step aside here, get an HBR TV side-by-side break out of the way. We're going to stay with the action. You won't miss a moment of it. We'll be back after this.
I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
I met Mark.
Back at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, 35 laps in of 150. Been watching this battle, Chris Klein and Paul Durkee, for a bit. Klein got a piece of the outside wall, was able to gather it back up, stay under the green flag. Vincent Short now challenging Justin Lawson for position. Watching this battle continue between Justin Lawson and Vincent Short. It's a battle for P6. Things unchanged with our top two, but in the midst of everything, Larry Dickerson has taken a spot from Alfie Chair and moved the 69 truck into P3 as he continues to reel in now Brian Rose. That would be the second spot on the racetrack. Alfie has fallen off quite a bit. About 1.8 seconds behind third place Dickerson. Millet with a 4.3 second advantage over Brian Rose. Going to start seeing some pit stops here, and I would say roughly 10 to 14 laps. Fuel window here tonight between 48 and 52 laps. Average it down to about 50. Got Albert Anderson in the stream chat. Thanks for checking in, Albert. Miss you out here, but thanks for being here in the stream nonetheless. Cheering on Larry Dickerson there in P3, trying to track down Brian Rose. Vincent Short still fighting with Justin Lawson for position. This would be for P6. They're side by side through 3 and 4. Chris Klein just waiting in the wings here for something to happen between these two. Still go side by side through turns 3 and 4. Short to the inside. Turn number 1, Short takes P6 over Justin Lawson. Running in the 9th spot, trying to hold off Derek Welch. Welch has started a shotgun on the field here today. He's up 6 spots, sits in the 10th position. Putting some pressure on the 13. Lawson now trying to hold off Chris Klein in the same position. This is for the 7th spot. Klein to the inside, down the front stretch here into turn number 1. Still side by side for position. The Yinling machine up top. Klein back to the power on the bottom. Is able to edge back up side by side with the 20 off of turn 4 at the stripe of drag race. Lawson's going to beat him to the line. Lap 45, though, doesn't count for much. Down into turn 1, little wiggle there for the 51 of Klein. Up the racetrack goes the 20 of Lawson. Meanwhile, Baker down pit lane. Still watching this battle here for the 8th position. Justin Lawson, Paul Durkee now going at it. Looks like Chris Klein has made his way by the 20. He's taken over that 7th spot. Lawson looking to cross over and take that spot back. Let's see if he's got anything for him down at the bottom. Hooks the left side below the yellow line. That's okay. That's fair game here in New Hampshire. Hard to get it done, though. Not a lot of banking on the bottom. Certainly is the short way around, but not necessarily the fastest. Got Matt Sisler in the stream chat. Looking like some good racing here tonight. Matt, thanks for being here in the stream. Lawson slides up, has to check up to avoid contact with Klein. Has to tuck back in behind the 51. Again, this is the battle for P7. Tell you, Vincent Short up in 6th place. He's got to be loving this. These guys going at it. Derek Welch still running in the 10th position. He's going to put some pressure on Durkee here if he can. Looks like Blaine Woodruff, though, is going to try and close in on Welch as well. He's right there in the tire tracks of the number 1 NTG machine. Lap 49 on the board here. Expect to see pit stops unfolding here soon. Pit window 48 to 52 laps. It's not to say someone couldn't stretch it. In fact, listening to Zach Millett, way out of the gas, saving a ton of fuel. He's got to make it here. He's going to try and make this past 50. You watch. If he does it right, he can make it a 2-stop race. Let's ride on board with Millett and listen. I don't know if you guys caught it there, but he was powered down in the clutch, just coasting through turns 1 and 2. Let's listen again through 3 and 4. There it is. You see the tack drop down to idle. Millett saving as much fuel as he possibly can here at this point. So Millett still out in front over Brian Rose. It's 2.6869, 2.7 seconds. It's Justin Lawson, Paul Durkee, Vince Short, Rob Chipman Jr. all on the pit lane. Alfie Charon as well. Millett stretching the fuel, though. He's at lap 51. He may come this time. We'll see. Meanwhile, battle for position, but Brian Rose comes to pit lane. Rose off the racetrack to make his first scheduled stop under the green flag. HBRshops.com machine. Zach Millett now down off the racetrack, locking her down, getting to pit road speed, awfully careful. Millett's been spot on, getting out of the pits here all season long. Not a mistake as of yet. There's still time. Millett in the pits as the race leader, down to the end of pit lane here. Right sides go in the air. It's going to be 4 tires and Sunoco Racing fuel for that S4 guy. First round of green flag stops here at New Hampshire. Millett down and away. No pit road speeding penalty on entry. Looks like he's got nothing to worry about on exit. A 14.73 second stop, only half a tenth faster than Brian Rose. Millet back into turns 3 and 4. Cycles right back through. In fact, it looks like Brian Rose might have gained some ground here in pitting when he did. It wasn't so much the entry and exit that was the issue. It was the fact that Rose came a lap sooner than Millet. Nevertheless, Millet back out on the racetrack now with 1 lap newer tires than second place Brian Rose. About a truck length, maybe 2 back to the 89. Lap 55 is going to go up on the board. Paul Durkee running in the P6 position just ahead of Vincent Short. Alfie Charon in P5. Bit of a ways up down the back straightaway here in front of those 3. Looks like Durkee, Short, and Ottinger, the other trio behind Alfie Charon. So 56 laps up on the board here of 150, past 1/3 distance. Some drivers on a 2-stop strategy at this point in the race, expecting this thing to go green. And caution laps certainly going to change things if we get them. Drivers were allotted, as we said early on, 4 sets of tires over the wall, and the yellow is out.
So what you got going on out there, bud?
Don't know why. Honest to goodness, I don't see anybody off track anywhere. No indication through iRacing. Just a phantom caution flag, and it comes after the green flag pit stop, so at least that's a plus. We don't catch a million guys a lap down. But I guess that's the question. Do we see anybody gamble here for a set of tires? The way this race has gone, we've gone 56 laps under the green flag without any issues. And even now with the caution flag coming out, I don't know what issue we really had. Justin Lawson, though, he's going to come to pit lane, as is Paul Durkee, Vincent Short, Dan Baker, Blaine Woodruff, Double O Joe Bennett. I'd say about half the field here opting for a set of tires. You might as well give it a shot because they're just going to march to the front. Gives them an opportunity for some solid track position. I still don't know what brought the caution out. Absolute zero indication with iRacing as to what caused it. That's the thing here with broadcasting. The software that I use, it usually pulls all the information from iRacing to indicate when we get a caution flag, who caused it, gives us the ability to go back and watch the replay. In this case, the yellow flag just came out all by its lonesome, no issue on track. It is what it is, but with that, we're going to step aside here, get another break out of the way, and we'll be back after this.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, lap 60, about to be 61, which is when we're going back to the green flag here. Pace car lights are off. Zach Millett going to lead him down. Brian Rose to the outside. Row number 2, Larry Dickerson and Alfie Charon. Jeff Ottinger, Derek Welch, your top 6.
Green flag.
Millett back to the point. He's going to lead after the restart. Brian Rose to the outside, still contending, battling on that high side for that lead. Let's see if he can make it work. Millett on the bottom out of turn 2. Almost some contact with Millett teammate Brian Rose. Rose trying to look to the bottom instead. Back to the power goes the 89. Gains a little bit of ground, but not enough. Millett's got the run out of turn 2. Battle for the lead quickly going away. It's 2 truck length advantage goes to Zach Millett. Brian Rose runs P2, Alfie Charon 3rd, Larry Dickerson, Jeff Ottinger 4th and 5th. Meanwhile, Justin Lawson now is taking the spot from Ottinger. He goes to the bottom of that number 20 machine. Again, he did stop for tires during that caution, so a little bit newer rubber underneath that truck. Lawson still all over the back bumper of Larry Dickerson. Ottinger has slipped back into P6. Remember, Lawson with some newer tires. Again, it's not a huge advantage, but early on in this run, it's going to make a big difference. Lawson now up the racetrack, kind of gives him the opportunity to go high, low, middle, whatever he wants to do right now. That's what he's going to do. Meanwhile, Dickerson, though, still having a good run. He's quick regardless of the tire life. 5 laps older on the tires for the 69 truck. He's still able to hold off the 20 of Lawson. Oh, Derek Welch loose out of turn 4. Welch gathers it back up to at the expense of a couple of spots. At the minimum, 1. Looks like Klein and the 13 of Paul Durkee are going to go around the outside. Welch back up in front of the 09 of Dan Baker. P10. Chris Klein now battling Paul Durkee for position. Klein, the number 51, the red and white truck on the high side, the 13 of Paul Durkee down low. Still side by side, down into turn number 3. Durkee drives it way down, and Klein way loose on entry. Might have scraped the safer barrier a little bit. Not 100% sure. They're 3 wide for a moment here out of turn 4. Klein, Welch, and Baker out of 4, 3 wide. They single it out here, at least double it out. And we have another caution. Vincent Short involved in this one.
Still difficult.
Brandon Coleman as well. Driving away from the scene here. Let's get a look at it. Not a great angle here. This looks to be on the backstretch. Let's try again here. See what we can see with Vincent Short. Not sure if there was contact with Short or not, but nevertheless, out of turn 2. Spins off the racetrack into the inside Armco barrier. Let's see if we can get a better look at this one. It's working to the outside. Looks like on Chris Klein. Oh, the 13 comes up. Paul Durkee gets a piece of the inside left rear of Vincent Short. Spins him off at turn 2. He gets a piece of the inside wall. But then what happens with Coleman here? Let's take a look. Coleman on the bottom. Looks like this might have been a full lap later. Not seeing the issue here with the 13 truck. Let's try another option here. Ah, okay. Brandon Coleman is the 19 truck, not the 13. That was Durkee, sorry. His own issues on the front straightaway here. There you have it. Still some damage on the 19 truck. Just shy of the halfway point. We had some leaders take an opportunity here to make pit lane. Brian Rose, Zach Millen, Alfie Charon, Larry Dickerson, Jeff Ottinger, Robert Chipman Jr., Vincent Short, of course, Chris Klein, Scott Milner, Brandon Coleman, all opting for pit lane. Joe Bennett, Blaine Woodruff, Dan Baker, Welch, Durkee, Lawson, all staying on the racetrack as we go back under the green flag. Lawson with the race lead.
Green flag.
Green flag in the air. We're back racing from New Hampshire. Still shy of halfway. Now we've got a handful of trucks on different tire strategy, whereas everyone from 7th on back on fresh rubber looking to try and cut through this field. It's not a 5-lap difference at this point. We're talking 15 laps or better. It's almost like class racing here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. 3 wide, middle of 3 and 4, Rose up the gut. Rose already up into P4. Fresh tires on that HBRShops.com machine is going to send him to the front very quickly. Again, as we said, we had some drivers opt for tires after just 5 laps during our last caution. A little bit more of a lap difference between fresh and old. As Rose gets up into P2, already challenging for the lead here just a couple of laps after the restart. Big gaggle of trucks here in the start-finish line. Rose still on front here. Let's ride on board with Lawson. Rose to the inside, got a nose alongside, down into turn 3. Goes to the bottom, just like that. He's going to take the lead, or does he? Lawson doesn't have the grip to power back around on turn 4. So new leader, Brian Rose. battles all over the racetrack here. Alfie Charon running in P7. Also a driver that opted for 4 tires. Larry Dickerson on the attack here, taking a spot from Paul Durkee. Again, a tire differential here. Dickerson lap 70, Paul Durkee lap 57. Ironically enough, though, with Millett taking over the second spot, or at least trying to, Lawson on the bottom there, his tires are the oldest amongst the group here in the racetrack. He still runs second or third, depending on how you want to look at it, but now with Millett clearing him out of 4, Lawson officially in P3. New tires certainly showing their value here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. 79 laps in. Brian Rose with the race lead. Millett now in P2, 1.7 seconds back from Brian Rose. Larry Dickerson still battling. Now he's taking a spot from Justin Lawson. Lawson continuing to free fall back with the older rubber. Alfie Charon going to take advantage. Trying to get 2 for 1 here. Gets to the inside. Almost some contact. There might have been some contact. I think Alfie might have checked up here to cut the 69 in a break, but it almost cost himself because Lawson was almost there as well, running over Alfie Charon. Not really his fault, but it is what it is. Alfie, being the nice guy, almost cost him. Short also up into the top 5 here, taking a spot from Lawson. Slides up the racetrack. Hoping Lawson lifts. On a turn 4, Vincent Short solidly now into the top 5. He's up 8 positions from where he qualified, having a good afternoon. Looks like we got a very excited Nikki Short in the stream chat. Heck yeah, go Short. Nikki, thanks for chiming in. We always appreciate it. Nikki used to be an every-nighter, a regular here at HBR TV, but once in a while we still see her. Certainly happy to have her. And we've got Joe Bennett cheering on. Who else but 00 Joe Bennett? Mr. Bennett, thanks for joining us. Brian Rose still your race leader, 1.4 seconds back to Zach Millett. Rose enjoying time out in front of this field. Once again, for a driver that doesn't like New Hampshire, been pretty strong here tonight. First laps led this afternoon versus Zach Millett. Millett was out in front just about from the drop of the green flag through the cycle of pit stops. Some drivers being off cycle now has kind of caused this to switch up a bit, but Millett closing in the second spot, just over 1 second back from Rose. Wow, Millett gained a ton of ground there. 1 lap, he gained 4 tenths. Well, 3 tenths. Still, that's a ton of ground. We'll say that these two have checked out, though. Larry Dickerson, 3.1 seconds back from Brian Rose. These two are left to their own devices here to battle it out for the top spot here at lap 85, soon to be 86 as they work turn 4. Dickerson, though, he's got a challenge coming from Alfie Charon down into turns 1 and 2. Charon way down to the bottom. The run's going to come on the high side of the 69 truck so he can defend. Side by side. down the backstretch into turn 3. Dickerson up the racetrack, Alfie Sharon into P3. Not a tire discrepancy here as Sharon scrapes the wall on exit. Top 3, Rose, Millet, Sharon, lap 8-7. Another check on our race leaders. Here it is. It's getting closer and closer. Brian Rose definitely grabbing third gear. You see him drive out of the corner there. A little early on throttle. Really drives out of the corner. You can tell Zach Millett not in third gear just as of yet. Lap times have gotten pretty darn close. Last lap for Brian Rose at 32:25. Millet ran at 32:29. Takes a look to the inside into 3, tucks back in behind Brian Rose. Still, we watch this battle here at lap 90 as we approach our second round of green flag stops. Give it about 10-12 laps, you're going to start to see guys peel down pit lane. Millet all over the back bumper of Rose into 1 and 2. Can't make the move just yet. Almost got into the 89. It seems like Millet's got the pace right now. He's alongside, got a nose alongside. Nothing there. Tucks back in behind off turn 2. Down the backstretch still. The battle for the lead. Lap 91 down into turn 3. Rose has it. Millet definitely wants to take it away. Rose changing up his racing line just a bit, trying to throw off Millet slightly. I don't know if it's paying off or not. Millet's right there, just a few feet off the back bumper, off the tailgate of Brian Rose as they work through turns 3 and 4 once again. Coming back to the stripe here to be lap 93 as they cross it. Still, we continue to watch this fight for position. Millet really cuts it down there in 3 and 4. Closes down the gap. Millet's the faster truck right now. He's just got to find a way around. We've got Andrew Cawthon. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Says, come on, Chipman and Dickerson. Dickerson running in the 4th spot. Rob Chipman Jr. back in 15th. Still on the lead lap, though. Continue to watch this battle for the top spot, and it's allowed Alfie Sharon to close down as well. He's within 1.3 of our race leaders. I gotta wonder here if Brian Rose decides to short pit the quote-unquote undercut. He may come out of this on top if he does it. That's what he did the first time around. He pit just one lap sooner than Zach Millett. Was able to gain some ground here, and he maintains the top spot here at New Hampshire. In fact, Millett may have gone an extra lap, maybe even 2 to 3 after Rose pit the first time. Granted, in this cycle of pit stops, they are on equal footing. They all pit at lap 70 during our last caution. So with that said, we're going to see some drivers come down pit lane here momentarily, but our race leaders back into the 7th spot, all that pit on lap 70. They've got a ways to go before we see them come down pit lane. So with that, we're going to go HBR TV side by side, get one more break out of the way, but it'll be a break that you don't miss any moment of the action, including maybe a pass for the lead, as we've got one shaping up here at New Hampshire. We might want to give it a couple more laps here before we jump out to an HBR TV side by side. We're going to hang here just for a couple more laps just to see if Millett can put the pass on Brian Rose here and take over the top spot once again. Almost seems like Millett is, well, I say that, as soon as I say that, he closes it right into within a few feet. Right there down the front stretch. Interesting that Brian Rose kind of taking a defensive road racing line down the front stretch here, trying to take away that ability for Millett to make the pass. He's certainly frustrating the 315 here. Once again, though, it's allowed Alfie Charon to close down the gap. It was 1.3 seconds. Now it's under 9/10. Well, we can't wait forever, so let's give it a shot here. HBR TV side by side. Stay with us, folks. We'll be back after this.
I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, the battle for the lead still continues here. Millett running second, a truck length off the back bumper of the 89 of Brian Rose. Some drivers hitting pit lane here already. Again, off cycle, some pit lap 57, some on lap 70. So you're going to see some variant into when these guys come down for their final stop of the day. And Brian Rose comes down pit lane. So does Zach Millett and Alfie Cherry. We saw these three drivers all together through the battle between Rose and Millett. Alfie was able to close down the gap from P3. Rose into his pit box. Zach Millett the same. Alfie Charon as well. Millett looks like he overshot the box just a bit. Has to back it up a hair to get the guys to pit the race truck. 4 tires and fuel for all 3 drivers. Rose is down and away. He's going to beat Millett out by quite a bit. So is Alfie Charon. He's going to leapfrog Zach Millett. Move Charon into the second spot, at least as far as these 3 drivers are concerned. Going to have to watch the cycle through. Again, it's going to change a lot throughout the course of this. Chris Klein, now your race leader, his pit stop was also at lap 70, so expect to see him here pretty shortly. Drivers making their pit stops right now can absolutely make it all the way to the finish. Maybe even a green-white checker or 2 if necessary. But I got to tell you, the way we've been running here tonight, it's been pretty clean. We've had a couple of incidents, at least for cautions. Really only one if you speak of it. I don't know what that first one was for, but hopefully we figure that one out before it's all said and done. Chris Klein in his pit box, 4 tires and fuel. Meanwhile, Alfie Charon goes to the point. Go back and take a look at that, because Rose got out of the pits first. Money got held up behind the 20 of Lawson. All the way around. Again, the home track for Alfie Charon, Connecticut native. Not too far here from New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Taking over that position from Brian Rose. Alfie now at the point. Lap 110, 41 to go. Zach Millett, disastrous pit stop, 16.3 seconds in the box. Almost a full 2 seconds slower than Alfie Charon and Brian Rose. Under green flag conditions, that is a lot of time. People look at that, oh, it's only a couple of seconds. No, folks, that is a lot of time. Running 130, 140, 150 miles an hour down into turn 1. 150 miles an hour every 2 seconds. You are covering a lot of ground. Just by example, think about this. You're out on the highway, right? You're doing 65, 70 miles an hour. You see those striped white lines on the highway. Take a guess how many feet there are in between those white lines on the highway. It's 20 feet in most cases. You're clicking that off every snap of a finger. That's only at 65, 70 miles an hour. These guys are doing 150, twice that. At 200 miles an hour, it's a football field every second. Millett spent an extra 2 seconds in the pits. At 150 miles an hour, that's still a pretty good distance. That's why he's running back in P3, almost 2 seconds back from race leader Alfie Charon. Checking out some other battles throughout the field. Larry Dickerson maintaining the 5th position over Justin Lawson. Lawson running there in P6. Teammate Paul Durkee back in the 7th spot. Well, Derek Welch down pit lane. His final stop of the day. See how Derek fares here. A little bit of right side damage on the number 1 truck. Derek's down and away, or is he? Uh-oh, we got a problem with Derek Welch. He completed his pit stop, tried to leave, and then all of a sudden he's back in the box. Big time troubles here for the 1. Meanwhile, Alfie Charon still out in front. 1.1 seconds ahead of Brian Rose in P2. Oh, okay, so Derek Welch, again, as we mentioned earlier on in the broadcast, Derek Welch is, the owner of NTR, of course, the primary admin here in Numb Thumbs Racing. Joined this race tonight, I'm guessing just because it was a relatively light field. We only had 15 trucks, which is, for this particular league, pretty light. This guy has usually put out 20 to 25 trucks, no problem. But Derek says in the stream chat, I got to do behind the scenes stuff. So my guess is Derek Welch out of this one early, intentionally. He's trying to get some things done here for the rest of the league, which I can't say that I blame him. It's tough to be a driver and a league admin all at the same time. So Alfie Charon out in front. 1.4 seconds over Brian Rose, Zach Millett, Larry Dickerson, Vincent Short, your top 5. Justin Lawson running in that 6th position, at least for now. Chris Klein trying to take it away. Really impressed with both of these drivers here tonight. They've been battling back and forth for position pretty much since the drop of the green flag. Klein started back in the 8th position here tonight. Lawson started 7th. Klein has taken that spot away from Lawson as he now makes a move to the inside on Coleman. Coleman not a lead lap truck. So Chris Klein up into the 6th spot. Alfie Charon still out in front. No pressure from the back. Brian Rose running in P2. Him, on the other hand, he's got some pressure coming, and that's the 315 of Zach Millett. Derek Welch again in the stream chat says, racing without practice on this track. Well, I'll just be frank, folks. He says it sucks. And I can see that. It's a tough place to get a hold of. It's kind of a unique racetrack. It's really not like really any place that we go to. The closest racetrack that I would compare it to might be the Milwaukee Mile. Milwaukee tends to be a little bit flatter, but I would say it's probably its closest cousin. But yeah, you definitely got to put the time in here. If you're going to be fast, you got to practice. You got to put it in throughout the course of the week. Derek Welch did a pretty darn good job considering no practice. we are, though. We watch this battle for the second spot. Still Alfie Charon out in front. Brian Rose, P2. Millett running in third. About 4/10 off the back bumper of Brian Rose is Zach Millett. Millett wasn't able to make the pass on Rose as the race leader at the time. He was awfully close here recently. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to make the pass now. 26, 27 laps remain. Sharon was still a 1.6 second advantage over Brian Rose. Really is the closest battle on the racetrack right now. It's Brian Rose and Zach Millett for P2. Rose with about a truck length to 2 off of Zach Millett. Bit of a yo-yo. Rose a better exit out of turn number 2. It seems that Millett able to close the gap under braking into the corner. Double O Joe Bennett in 12th. Vincent Short in 5th. Jeff Ottinger running in the 10th spot. Ottinger going by, or at least trying to go by the 19 of Brandon Coleman. Ottinger running in the 10th spot. Coleman listed as P15. 2 laps down. Short trying to take a spot from Larry Dickerson here. This would be for position. Short running in P5, Dickerson 4th. Got to hit it to Chris Klein, though. He's having a solid afternoon here, running in P6, started 8th. Maintaining that position, might even be closing in a bit on Vincent Short and Larry Dickerson. Klein would love to make this a top 5 day with 20 laps to go. Continuing to watch the fight here. Dickerson might be starting to stretch it out just a bit over Vince Short. It's just over 0.6 of a second back to the 15. $19 laps to go. Again, the top 3 drivers have only pit 3 times, which means they absolutely have at least 1 set of tires remaining over pit wall. That would apply at least all the way back to Larry Dickerson. Vincent Shorts made 4 stops. Not 100% sure if he's taken all 4 sets of tires. Back out front, your race leader, Alfie Charon, still 1.85 seconds over Brian Rose with 18 laps to go. Plenty of distance. Almost would say he's got a bit of a cushion. He can be conservative here all the way to the finish, as long as we stay green. Brian Rose, however, he's got to push, push, push. He's got a mirror full of Zach Millett. Gets into the back of Brian Rose, has to slam on the brakes to avoid contact. That was close. You saw it here live as we watched it. Millett almost driving through Brian Rose. I don't know if Millett just got that much better of a run or if Rose was trying to check up here to slow down to accommodate the lap truck of Dan Baker. Definitely puts about a 3/4 second advantage between himself and Millett. Rose now has to make this move here and get around the 09 of Baker to continue to move on. Still side by side out of turn 2 down the backstretch. Rose alongside Baker. Baker's pit stop lap 105, Rose lap 106, so relatively equal footing, but he gets the job done. Rose goes on by, 14 laps to go out of turn 4. Now Millett's going to dispose of Baker. That was awfully close. You saw the tire smoke coming off the 315, locking her down, trying not to run over the 89 truck of Brian Rose, and loose out of turn 2 is Millett again. Ironically, through all that, Alfie Charon, still with the race lead, though, is definitely having to worry about the distance between himself back to Brian Rose. It's less than a second, 8.5 tenths to be specific here, coming to 11 laps to go. I think Zach Millett putting the pressure on Brian Rose was what was keeping Rose from closing down the gap to himself, to Alfie Charon with the race lead. 10.5 laps to go. It's down half a second. Alfie has pushed it too hard too soon. Now it's 3 tenths, 2.5 tenths, down into 3 and 4. Now it goes up again, 4 tenths with coming to 10 laps to go. Alfie way up the racetrack, trying to build momentum out of the corner to carry that down the straightaway, but Brian Rose is right there, tucks back in behind. It's not even a truck length between the two. 10 laps to go. I don't know if Alfie's got enough to hold off the 89 of Brian Rose. There's Zach Millett, always fast. He's certainly a threat no matter where he is. If he's in the top 5, he can win it, but Brian Rose goes to the inside in turn 3, trying to take the top spot from Alfie Charon. He's got him clear for now. He's got to slide up the racetrack. Alfie's got to run. Not enough. Brian Rose to the point. Coming to 9 laps to go. The 89 of Brian Rose to the point over the two Chevys of Alfie Charon and Zach Millett. Millett now trying to go wide. Alfie might have burned up his stuff here a little bit too soon. He had the pace. He had the advantage. Seemed like he was setting sail for a race win. It's not to be unless something changes, maybe even a caution. He does close in a bit there to Brian Rose. 8 laps to go as they work on a turn 4. The top 3, Rose, Charon, Millett, and it's Larry Dickerson and Chris Klein, the top 5. Dickerson with almost a 3-second advantage over Chris Klein. No challenge there. Vincent Short in P6. Some right side damage on the track bar media Chevrolet. Now the battle again. Alfie Charon coming back around, trying to take the lead out of turn 4. Side by side at the stripe. Alfie's going to lead that lap, I think. 7 to go. Top 3. Alfie Charon, Brian Rose, Zach Millett. Any one of these guys can win it. Now Alfie's taking the old school line all the way down to the apron. It pays off out of turn number 2. Don't forget, folks, Alfie Charon out of Connecticut. This is a local, this is a home race for the 78 machine. He might have a few tricks left up his sleeve as they come to 6 laps to go. Charon, Rose, Millett, the top 3, all in contention here with 6 laps to go. Charon back out to the point. He's taking the spot from Brian Rose. Little bit of distance now, 0.6 of a second as he closes in on the 55 of Robert Chipman Jr. 5 laps to go at the stripe. Chipman with a little bit fresher tires. He does yield to the top 3 here. Lets them fight it out. Millett way up the racetrack. He's going to get held up by the 55. Chipman Jr. trying to give him some space. It just wasn't enough room to do it. Charon now with a 0.6 of a second lead down into turns 3 and 4. Less than 5 to go. Charon spun the tires out of turn 4. It's going to close the gap down to less than a 1/10 or a 1/10 and a half here. 0.5 of a second the advantage he has over Rose. Rose gains a 1/10 to a 1/10 and a half. Now even more now. It's not even 2/10 out of turn number 2. A good exit for Brian Rose down the backstretch into 3. He's going to dive to the bottom. 4 laps to go. He's to the inside of Alfie Charon. Can he make it stick? Alfie's going to have the run on a turn number 4. Does he clear him? Not quite yet. Teammates battling here for the win at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Millett up the gut, down into turns 1 and 2. Does he have enough room? Brian Rose with the race lead. Alfie Charon topside. We're 3 wide for the win. And the race lead here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Less than 3 laps to go. Brian Rose puts it in the wind down the back straightaway. Unbelievable racing here in the top 3 with less than 3 laps to go from New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Off of turn 4, Brian Rose at the point. Alfie Charon's going to have to battle back hard to see what he can do to take this lead back away from Brian Rose. 2 laps to go. Millett just doesn't seem to have it here out of turn number 2. The battle between Brian Rose and Alfie Charon. This could be for the race win. They're down into turn 3. Once again, it's a truck length. The advantage for Brian Rose. Alfie closes in just a bit, but Rose takes the high line again. At the stripe, white flag in the air. Not even a few feet between the 89 and this 78. Final lap from Loudon. Brian Rose way up the racetrack, down into 1 and 2. Alfie Charon to the bottom. Does he have enough? He clips the bottom of the racetrack. Nose out in front off of turn number 2. Who is going to win it? It's a drag race down the back straightaway. Now Zach Millett fighting with Alfie Charon into turn 3. It might be Brian Rose's day. Maybe not. Alfie Charon goes way to the bottom once again. Oh, man, what do we got going on here? It could be a photo finish at the stripe. Who's going to win it? It's Brian Rose. Unbelievable finish. Alfie Charon actually does get second spot. Just 1/100th of a second over Zach Millett. What a race. What a finish here from New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Brian Rose, in a must-win situation, takes it home, grabs the checkered flag. I'm out of breath, folks. I gotta say, I don't have a whole lot to say here. That was a great race, a great finish. Brian Rose, Zach Millett, HBR teammates. Alfie Charon finishing in P2 here, HBR associate, gonna be an HBR team member next season. These guys put it all out on the line here tonight. What a finish. We're going to take a break here. We'll be back with our top 3 finishers after this, folks. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Welcome back to New Hampshire Motor Speedway for the NTG Trucking 150. That race is in the books, and Brian Rose sits atop the leaderboard as the race winner with the HBRShops.com F-150. See if we can get a word with our race winner, Brian Rose. Pull him up into the broadcast booth. Brian, it's Steve in the booth. You got us?
Yeah, we're here, Steve.
Brian, congratulations, man. Once again, we interview you in Victory Lane here in New England, in New Hampshire Motor Speedway. You've taken the checkered flag in a place that you're just not a fan of. Are you starting to like this place a little bit better after a couple of wins?
It's starting to warm on me. Yeah, I'm starting to get used to it, but not a real big flat track fan, but man, this was a fun race. I knew I had some long run speed. That's kind of my MO here, just to try to maintain my tires. And I sure didn't have anything left on the wheels after this race. My right rear was smoking, trying to shift to catch Alfie and stay in front of Millet. I don't know how we pulled that off, but boy, that was a hell of a battle right there at the end.
Well, Millet certainly had a ton of pace in the early stages of this race. Through the pit cycle, it seemed like you actually had a little bit better in and out time than the 315. You were able to get back around him, take the lead back. Then Alfie Charon and you changed positions a couple of times, exchanged the lead a handful of times. What was the key to getting back around the 78?
Alfie's super fast. I think he said in our practice that, he was from here, so, he knows this track pretty good. Just riding around right there at the start of the race and trying to see everybody's line and what they're doing. Looked like he was just, there's a time when you start shifting and a time, you kind of just run it out and try to save the right rear. It felt like that I was a little bit faster on the long runs than he was, but didn't really know if he was shifting or not. But I think lap traffic really hurt him and let us catch up there a little bit. But man, hats off to the whole team. We got on here and we practiced a bunch. Zach and Alfie, 39, 68, and 35 laps led. So hats off to everybody at HBRShops.com, Track Bar Media, Eric Dotson, Castle, that S4 guy on Twitch. Man, this is fun. Hope everybody enjoyed that. I really do. And shout out to Numb Racing. They're sponsoring tonight's race. And maybe we come back here. Maybe I don't dread it so much.
Well, you certainly had a good run here tonight, regardless of anything. Of course, you take home the checkered flag tonight, but you did it from the pole. No, you didn't. Millet took the pole, but at least the front row. Nonetheless, it was a good run here tonight. Next week, though, Charlotte Motor Speedway, certainly vastly different than this roughly flat racetrack here in New Hampshire. How do you feel about your chances next week at Charlotte?
Just like I say week in and week out when we do these interviews, I got the best team out there to practice with, to learn from, swap info with. We'll get out there and we'll practice. I'm real good at Charlotte. I used to consider Charlotte one of my home tracks. Always loved that place. Pretty good there. It's going to take managing the tires on a long run to maintain some pace. But I know we can get out there and do it. So thanks to everybody tonight, and good job HBR. Almost had a 1, 2, 3, 4 finish. I don't really know what happened to Vince right there at the end, but come back out and get them next week. I think we're in the playoffs now. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think we might be.
We'll have to verify that. I'm not 100% sure myself, but I think a win definitely gets you back in. We'll have to follow up with Derek Welch on that to be sure. But either way, Brian, congratulations on the race win here tonight, man. Good luck next week at Charlotte.
All right, man. Thank you, guys.
It's Brian Rose, your race winner here tonight at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Next, we're going to pull Alfie Charon, the HBR associate, up into the broadcast booth and get a word with the driver of the number 78 Silverado. Alfie, it's Steve in the booth. You got us?
I got you, but I don't think I'm supposed to go second.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, Zach beat me to the line by very, very little.
Well, we'll have to double check that because from my standpoint, you beat Millet by 100th of a second, but we'll have to double check. But we're going to go with it either way. Talk us through your race, man. You led some laps here late in this event here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, kind of a home track for you. Walk us through it. What was the strategy? What were you thinking as those guys started to close down the gap on you late in this run?
Yeah, the truck got super tight. The last pit stop where you saw me take the lead, I was shifting that whole time and just smoked the right rear tire off the truck, and I had to stop shifting for a little bit, and when I did that, they caught me, and I just couldn't hold off that 89 truck, man. He's quick. I love Brian to death, and it's fun racing with him and Millet, but utmost respect to both of them for racing me clean right there.
You know, we talked about it a lot with Brian Rose. I mean, last season when it was still the Superior Class Auto Racing Series instead of No Bull, he managed to beat out Bobby Hamilton Jr. there with a couple of laps to go. Might even have been the last lap. He ended up winning the race. And again, it was a track that Brian admittedly has said he doesn't like this place. He's not good here. He can't stand it, this, that, and the other. And he manages to win the race. Well, here he is again tonight. Takes over the top spot, takes the checkered flag, and unfortunately, it's not Alfie Charon with the home race. But either way, a solid finish for the 78. Next week, we roll into Charlotte Motor Speedway. How do you feel about Charlotte?
I'm actually looking forward to that one. I think it's almost like a Vegas race for me. I'm pretty good at the track. Hopefully Millet's off his game and I can try to give something to him to try to go for the win. It'd be cool to win a race and something against him. It seemed like it's always second or third, so trying to get that one more position on him.
Well, second or third is Zach Millett. Sometimes that's kind of considered a win. Certainly you want those points though, but we'll see how things play out. Again, Alfie, congratulations here on your second or third place finish. We'll have to figure that out. Last I checked, I thought it was you that ended up with P2, but either way, we'll get it straightened out. So Alfie, congratulations, man. Who do you want to thank before we let you go?
Just got to thank Eric Dotson, State Farm, Track Bar Media, that S4 guy for making me become a better racer. Got to thank you for broadcasting. Got to thank Numb Thumbs for putting up the awesome league for us to race in. Castle Packs Powers, Black Diamond Gaming, Country Designs, HBRTV1.com for race picks and to know when Steve goes live. And also check out HBRShops.com.
All right, Alfie. Well, thanks for talking to us, man. Good luck next week.
Thank you.
It's Alfie Charon. We think it's your runner-up. We'll clarify that before we're all out of here. But next up is going to be Zach Millett. We'll get a word with the driver of the 315, that S4 guy. Pull him up into the broadcast booth. Zach, it's Steve in the booth. You with us?
Hey, buddy.
Well, we've got a little bit of a question here. I know Alfie thinks he finishes third. From what I see, at least in my timing and scoring, it looks like you finished third. We'll have to straighten that out because the gap officially on my end is zeros across the board, so I'll have to get that figured out. But either way, a solid finish for both of you guys here tonight. It was a good run for HBR, a good run for the HBR associate. Walk us through your race. I know you led the first third of this race without any challengers whatsoever. A little bit of a mistake on pit road. Looks like you had to back up the truck into the pit box. Lost a couple of seconds in the pits. Walk us through that. And was there anything else you could have done to try and track down Alfie Charon and Brian Rose?
Man, I don't know. I got to say, that was probably one of the most fun races I've ever done. I mean, this is why you get on iRacing, because you have these kind of races and finishes, and it just doesn't get much better. But yeah, the start of the race was perfect. You know, it was just a qualifying thing. You know, we got a good start. Brian was right there, but we kind of escaped the pressure pretty quick and set pace pretty good. We were trying to save gas. I think a little more than half that run, I was shutting the truck off both corners and just coasting, and figured I'd try to give up as much time as I could just to get that extra lap. And of course, that was all for nothing because the caution came right out after. So we were in a good place either way. Pit road was slippery tonight. I was playing with bias all night, trying to get it to, lock up and not just kick sideways on me all the time. But yeah, I figured it was the last pit stop. I rolled a little too far, and I mean, I still felt okay being behind those guys. I knew they had pace, and I figured I'd just roll behind them, save my stuff, and good thing I did, man, because that was a fun finish, sliding sideways, going 3 wide. That was insane, man.
We watched it quite a bit, obviously, here through the broadcast, but it almost seemed like being the trailing truck on the racetrack was a bit of a detriment. Was dirty air, even though it's only a mile racetrack and a flat racetrack at that, was dirty air a bit of a problem here tonight?
It was, and that was so surprising to me too. You don't think you're going fast enough, or at this track you'd never expect such a thing. But yeah, coming off 2, man, dirty air was insane. I mean, if you were a truck and a half back, it was just killer. You'd push for the last 100 feet of the corner. It was tough.
Well, next week we go to Charlotte Motor Speedway, certainly a very different track than New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Higher speeds, aerodynamics certainly going to come into play a lot more there. How do you feel about your shot winning another race next week at Charlotte?
I love it there. I'm a big fan of Charlotte. I'm looking forward to it. it's I'm looking forward to going there. Looking forward to have another good points night. I'm always confused on how the points work here. They got a good system. I can't keep up with it, but hopefully we can have another good night and go into make it into the championship final and give it everything we got, and hopefully we got some HBR guys with us.
All right, Zach. Well, again, congratulations on the top 3 finish here tonight at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Who do you want to shout out to before we let you go?
I got to thank Numb for sponsoring this race. I got to thank the NTRL and Derek Welch and all those guys and everything they do. It's a great league, great bunch of guys. Got to thank HBRTV1.com, HBRShops.com. Trying to do as good as Alfie, but man, he knocked it out of the park.
Better notes.
Martin, yeah, way better or something. I got to get better handwriting or something. Martin Sports, Castle Products, Eric Dodson, State Farm, Track Bar Media. Obviously, you, Steve, and HBR TV for the broadcast. And I'm sure I'm forgetting something, but shoot me a follow over on Twitch at that S4 guy.
All right, Zach. Well, again, nice job, and good luck next week, man. Thanks for talking to us.
Thanks, man.
Zach Millett, your 3rd place finisher, maybe 2nd place. We'll double check that before we're out of here. We'll take a look at the results in just a brief moment. In fact, let's do that right now. Take a look at our race results. Brian Rose, your race winner. Zach Millett, officially, yes, he did finish in P2. 1/1000th of a second ahead of Alfie Charon Jr. So Brian Rose, Zach Millett, Alfie Charon. Larry Dickerson came home in P4. Chris Klein finished in the 5th position. Blaine Woodruff was P6. 7th place finisher was Justin Lawson. Paul Durkee was 9th. 10th went to Dan Baker. 11th finisher was 00 Joe Bennett. Scott Milner was 12th. Robert Shipman Jr. brought it home in the 13th spot. Brandon Coleman was 14th. Vincent Short, not sure what happened with Vince there late, ended up 4 laps down. He was challenging there in the top 6 there, even with the last handful of laps. So not sure what happened there with Short. And Derek Welch out of this one early by design. Finishes P16. He was here trying to get some of the background stuff taken care of as far as league admin stuff is concerned. But nevertheless, 16th place finish for Derek Welch. Got to thank all you guys for tuning in tonight. The handful of you that jumped into the stream chat tonight, certainly do appreciate that. Some pats on the back here. I think it was from Tom says, great job, Steve. That was awesome. I just call it like I see it, man. I do appreciate the pat on the back there, but it was an exciting race, 100%. Derek Welch, of course, as always. Matt Sisler jumping into the stream chat. Andrew Cawthan, I hope I'm saying it right, says, come on, Shipman and Dickerson, cheering on those guys. Joe Bennett, Nikki Short, Matt Sisler, we talked about, Albert Anderson, and above all, Haley out of Sweden. Man, I got to thank her 10,000 times. She is here almost every single night. And again, folks, she lives in Sweden. I'm here on the East Coast. You guys can Google it and do the math. It is extremely late in Sweden, and she chimes in here at least for the first half of just about every race, and it's probably 3-4 o'clock in the morning out where she's at. So Haley, do appreciate you being here. I don't know if you're still watching, but certainly thank you for being here. Thank you guys, all of you, for jumping into the stream chat tonight. It certainly makes things better. I love it. I love interacting with you guys, and also those of you that just chimed in for the race. You don't have to be in the stream chat. I'm just glad you're here. So thank you for watching. If you haven't already done so, check us out on HBRTV1.com. We've got race picks. We've got a live stream available to watch there as well. Hot links to the YouTube, hot links to the Facebook. And if you haven't already done so, like, follow, share, subscribe, the whole 9 yards. The most important part of this, though, like the stream. Hit the like button in the YouTube stream. That is the most important thing that you guys can do. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're watching, but you gotta like the stream. That makes a difference. Pushes the stream out to some eyeballs that may not necessarily see it. It helps HBR TV. It helps Numb Thumbs Racing. It's a plus across the board. So we certainly do appreciate that, guys. If you can come here and like the stream, not just watch it, but we do appreciate you guys helping us out. So thank you again from the bottom of my heart. I'm Steve Singer saying thank you for watching, and congratulations to Brian Rose for winning tonight's race, the NTG Trucking 150. We'll see you guys next week at Charlotte. Thanks for watching.